Hello to everybody. I'm welcoming all of you people to listen the online classes which were conducted by our esteemed institution, Diamond Group of Institution. I am P. Chandrasekhar, Faculty of Zoology. Today we'll discuss some of the previous questions of NEET and AIMS level, and they are related to the kingdom Animalia. Now the questions are like this, and today we are supposed to discuss some of the related questions itself. Now the first question is like this: which one of the following has an open circulatory system? You know that the circulatory system is a not only integrated system, which is very important system to circulate the digested food particles, vitamins and different hormones and different nutritive substances to the each and every part, which are collectively perform the metabolic activities and to give a beautiful life to the human body itself. So in that way, the question is asking that which one of the following has an open circulatory system? The options are like this: Uridinaria. Of course, Uridinaria is one of the example for phylum Annelida, in which a closed circulatory system is so far first appeared, and Octopus belongs to the mollusca, and Peritima is also one of the example of Annelida, and whereas Periplaneta is the best example for the phylum Arthropoda, in which cockroach, the scientific name of the cockroach can be named as the Periplaneta americana. The Periplaneta americana is naturally having the open circulatory system. Whatever the blood is circulated within the internal parts of the body of cockroach, which will be pumped by the 13 chamber heart into the body sinuses. The body sinuses are look after the circulation of the blood to the various internal parts. Of course, this is a kind of specialized open circulatory system which is confined to the Periplaneta americana. The option is given in the D option, so that's why the D option is a perfect option for this question. Now you go to opt the D option for this. After that, you go for the next question. The characteristic larva of phylum Coelenterata is, you know that in case of all the invertebrate phylums, every phylum is having its own larval stages. So like that, the question is asking that what is the name of the specialized larva of the Coelenterata? The options are like this: Planula, the option A is the Planula, and B is the Cysticercus, and C is the Rhabdiform and Wriggler. Of course, here the Planula is the name of the larva which belongs to phylum Coelenterata itself. That's why the A option is correct. Whereas Cysticercus is the larva of the phylum Platyhelminthes, Diatritiform larva is the larva of the Nematoda Ascihelminthes, whereas Wriggler is the one of the larva of the phylum Arthropoda itself. Here, particularly, I am not mentioned correct organism, only nominally I mentioned the phylums itself, but whereas the Planula is a specific and a characteristic larva of the Coelenterata itself, Cnidaria. So I am opting the A option as the correct option for this question. Now you go for the other question: which of the following cell type is capable of giving rise to other cell types in sponges? Of course, you know that the sponges belongs to the phylum Perifera, in which sponges, one of the specialized cell is present, and specialized type of cells are present, which having the capacity to give rise a different needed cells to the organism itself. So the options are given like this: Thizocyte. The thizocytes are one kind of cells of the peripherence or sponges which are helpful in the storage of the food particles itself. Pinacocyte, the second type of the cells are called pinacocyte. The pinacocytes are assembled to form the pinacoderm. The pinacoderm and coenoderm, these two of the layers are confined to the body wall of the peripherence itself. In that way, the pinacocytes are united to form the pinacoderm of the body wall of the peripherals. Whereas the cnidocytes are not at all concerned with the periphery itself. So the cnidocytes are confined to the ciliata, which are helpful in the protection and helpful in the capturing of food particles itself. But whereas archaeocytes are the specialized cells which are confined to the peripherals, which are the only cells which can able to exhibit the totipotency division characters also. The archaeocytes are having a capacity to differentiate into different cells which are needed to the peripherals itself. That's why among the A, B, C, D, the C and the D option, particularly A, B, C are not concerned with this, and D the only option that will be called as the archaeocytes. The archaeocytes are capable of giving rise new cells or needed cells to the sponges itself. That's why the D option is correct. Now we go for the next question. The animals having a built-in thermostat to maintain constant body temperature are called. So the question is asking that what is the built internal parts can be present in some of the organism and which can be able to maintain the constant body temperature forever. So the options are given like that. Biothermic, nothing but the living animals are responded to the cold environmental condition or cold climatical conditions. They are simply called as the biothermic animals itself. Poikilothermic means the cold-blooded organism. The cold-blooded organisms are also, they are simply called as ectotherms or thermoconformers, which are unable to maintain the constant body temperature itself. They are always changing their body temperature according to the environmental temperature, hence the name poikilothermic. And whereas C option is the oligothermic. Oligothermic means the living organism is always tolerate the low climatical condition or low temperature. They can be tolerate the low temperature and responding to the low temperature or low climatical conditions itself. That's why that's simply called as the oligothermic. Whereas homeothermic is explaining that the organism which can be maintain the constant body temperature forever in the environment itself. So the D option is the correct option for this question. So now I am opting the D option for this. Now you go for the other question. Metameric segmentation is the characteristic of. What do you mean of metameric segmentation? The body of the some of the living organisms are classified into equal segments. So if the body is divided or divisible into equal segments, that will be called as the metameric segmentation. If the body is divided into equal segment, that is called homonomous metameric segmentation. And in some of the living organism which are belongs to the arthropoda, in which organism the segmentation is present, but the body is not equally divided into equal segment. The body is divided into segments, but not into equal segment. That is called heteronomous metameric segmentation itself. Here, in case of metameric segmentation, not only the body is divided into equal segments, and as well as according to a series of the body segments, and all the important systems are scattered or else arranged according to the series of the body segments itself. That will be called as the metameric segmentation itself. Options are given like this. A option, platyhelminthes plus arthropoda. Partially arthropoda is correct, but platyhelminthes is not showing or not exhibiting any kind of the segmentation of the body. So that's why A option is not related. B option is Echinodermata and Annelida. Annelida is the correct example, but Echinodermata, the animals of Echinodermata are not exhibiting any kind of the segmentation. So that's why the B option is also not related with this. And C option is the Annelida and Arthropoda. The C option is included two of the correct phylums, that is called Annelida and Arthropoda in the kingdom Animalia, exhibiting the metameric segmentation itself. And after the D, the mollusca and chordata itself. The D option is also not related this, only the C option is correctly placed. That's why I am opting the C option for this question. And after that we go for the next question. Pseudocoelom occurs in. What do you mean of the coelom? You nothing but the coelom is nothing but it is a body cavity. Where it can be present, the body cavity of the triploblastic organism. Triploblastic means the body wall of some of the advanced organisms whose body wall is simply made with the three of the layers, ecto, meso and endo. In which organism? So certainly there is a body cavity is present. It not meaning that all the triploblastic organisms may or may not be contain the body cavity or coelom. So on the basis of nature as well as on the basis of formation of the coelom is classified into the following types. On the basis of nature of the coelom is simply classified into three types. It's acoelomates, pseudocoelomates and eucoelomates itself. Acoelomates means particularly example is the Platyhelminthes, though it is the triploblastic phylum, in which organism the mesenchyma, whatever the body cavity is so far present in the Platyhelminthes phylum, and all the way the body cavity is simply filled with the mesenchyma oblique parenchyma. That's why it is the best example for the acoelomates. Whereas the Oschelminthes oblique nematode is the best example for by having the pseudocoelom. The coelom is present or body cavity is present in between alimentary canal and body wall, but unfortunately or fortunately the coelom of the nematodes are not surrounded or not lined by peritoneal membrane, hence it is called pseudocoelom. From Annelida to all the chordates, in which organism the body cavity is present and lined with the peritoneal membrane itself. These are all phylae or comes under eucoelomates or true coelomates itself. Here the question is asking that the pseudocoelom occurs in. The options are given. Ascaris is the best example for the nematoda. So Ascaris is natural when it is belongs to the nematoda oblique Oschelminthes. This is the best example for a pseudocoelom itself. So that's why A option is correct for this. In case of B, Tiniasolim is belongs to the Platyhelminthes. This is the best example for acoelomate, and Fasciola hepatica is also belongs to the phylum Platy. It is also another example for the acoelomate. Planaria oblique Dugacia is also belongs to the one of the class Tadbellaria of the Platyhelminthes. BCD are naturally the example for the Platyhelminthes. BCD are not connected to the pseudocoelom. That's why A option is the correct for this. That is the example of that Ascaris. I too opting the A option itself. Now you go for the next question. The internal buds of freshwater sponges are otherwise called. The options are given like that: A, coenocyte, B, the gemmules, and C, the osculum, and B, D is the blastula. Once before selecting the option for this question, you have to know that so many living organisms are so far adopted some of the specialized adaptive character to avoid the unfavorable conditions of the environment itself. So many, for example, the amphibians are avoiding the unfavorable conditions during the summer. They undergo sleeping, that is nothing but estivation. It is simply called as summer sleep. Whatever the unfavorable conditions are so far present in the winter, again the amphibians are protecting themselves to dig out the burrows in the soil and to avoid unfavorable condition, that is called hibernation. Either of the estivation or hibernation is one of the adaptive character of the amphibians to come out from the uneven conditions itself. So in that way, the peripherals, the Spanish or the peripherals are also adopting a specialized characters during the unfavorable conditions of their own surroundings. They are nothing but they use it to undergo sexual reproduction. They produce a kind of specialized structure. They are simply called as the gemmules. So in order to avoid the unfavorable condition, the sponges can be developed the gemmules, And when the arrival of the favorable conditions, each of the gemule can be developed into the one of the daughter individual itself. That's why A option is not correct. Coinocytes. The coinocytes are one of the cell of the peripherence which are confined to form the coenoderm. Not only that, the coinocytic cells are also helpful in the intracellular digestion of the peripherence, but not helpful in the production of the internal blood itself. The B option is correct for these gemules, and C option is the osculum. So that means the body of peripherence consists of so many pores. On the basis of functional activity, the pores of the peripherence are simply classified into two types, ostia and osculum. Ostia are helpful in the intake of surrounding water. Not only that, it is also helpful in intake of dissolved oxygen along with the surrounding water. That's why ostia are simply called as the inhalant pores, whereas osculum is simply called as the exhalent pores itself. Whatever the water comes into the canal system of the peripherence, after utilization, the utilization water is coming out from the body of peripherence through the osculum. That's why the osculum is simply called as the exhalent pores itself. And after the D, the blastula. During the embryonic development of the living organism, the second stage of the embryonic development can be named as the blastula. So among the A, B, C, D, the B option is correct option for this. So go for the B option itself. Now after that we go for the other question. Which one of the following is a matching pair of a body feature and the animal possessing is? Now the A option is like that, ventral heart. So naturally ventral heart is not present in the scorpion. Post-anal tail is also not present in the octopus, which belongs to the mollusca. And C option, the ventral central nervous system. It is nothing but ventral nerve cord can be present in the leech itself, because of leech is one of the example of phylum Annelida, in which phylum Annelida and Arthropoda certainly double ventral nerve cord is present on ventral side of the body itself. So in ABCD, the C option is correct, that is the ventral central nervous system or ventral nerve cord can be present in the leech itself. And D, the pharyngeal gill slits absent in the embryo chameleon itself. This is also not related with this question. For this question only the C option is the correct option. That is mentioned that the ventral nerve cord is present and the example is the leech itself. So, and after that we go for the other question. So ninth question, in contrast to the Annelida, the platyhelminthes show. The options are like the radial symmetry. Radial symmetry is confined to the periphery or coelenterata itself, because of the Hydrojova and Scyphojova, these two classes of the coelenterata can be exhibit the radial symmetry, and exceptionally the Anthojovans are the only class of the Hydrozoans, only class of the coelenterate which exhibiting the biradial symmetry along with the Ctenophora. Here options of the pseudocoel. Of course, here the Annelida and as well as platyhelminthes, both the phylums are not exhibiting any kind of the pseudocoel itself. And after that C is the bilateral symmetry. So both the Annelida as well as platyhelminthes, both the phyla belongs to the triploblastic organism. The body wall is made with the three of the layers. Every triploblastic organism is naturally exhibiting the bilateral symmetry itself. That's why Annelida and platyhelminthes, both the phyla are exhibiting the bilateral symmetry itself. In contrast to the Annelida, naturally platyhelminthes do not have any kind of the body cavity. So that's why the D option is correct for this question. Options of body cavity is the correct option for this. Now you go for the another question. The radial symmetry is observed is. The radial symmetry, what do you mean of radial symmetry? Here the radial symmetry means when you take the section of radial symmetrical organism which is passing through the central axis of the body or center of the body, if the body is divided into two equal halves, that will be called as the radial symmetry itself. Particularly the platyhelminthes is given as the A option. Here the platyhelminthes is the best example for triploblastic. So naturally all the triploblastic organisms are exhibiting the bilateral symmetry, whereas B the Coelenterata and C the Annelida. Annelida is also one of the example of triploblastic, they too exhibiting a bilateral symmetry, whereas Osteohelminthes is another example of a triploblastic organism, whereas Echinodermata is also one among the triploblastic organism itself. That's why A, C, D and E, all these phylums are example for the triploblastic organism, and all of these four of the options are not exhibiting any kind of the radial symmetry itself. So only here the B option is the correct option for this, which is the only phylum which exhibits the radial symmetry itself. That's why I am opting the B, and as well as E also. E the Echinodermata. Here the adult echinoderms are naturally exhibiting the bilateral symmetry. The echinoderms, particularly exceptionally the larval stages, exhibiting the bilateral symmetry, whereas the echinoderms which are attained into the adult stage, certainly the complete body of the echinoderms are divided into 5 of the arms itself. So whatever the symmetry is so far present in the adult echinoderms, which is simply called as the pentamerous radial symmetry itself. So among the 5 options like A, B, C, D, E, and naturally BCE is partially correct, and B option is the A, B, C, E only, not correct, and C is the B, C and A only, is also not correct, and D option is the only correct because of coelentrates are naturally, irrespective of the adult and larval stage, both will be exhibiting the radial symmetry, whereas echinoderms, the adult stages of the echinoderms are naturally exhibiting the radial symmetry. That's why I am opting the D option as the correct option for this. Now go for the next question. Canal system is the characteristic of A, the Hydra. Hydra naturally belongs to the Cnidaria oblique Coelenterata. Here the tissue level organization can be present, but there is no specific canal system is not present. B, the option is of Sponges. The sponges are naturally belongs to the phylum Perifera, in which organism the canal system is specifically developed. So that's why the B option is the correct option for this question. Whereas Ascaris belongs to the Nematoda oblique Osteohelminthes, in which organism the pseudocoelomic fluid is look after the circulation of the digestive food parts to the organs of the body, whereas D is the none of these. So among the A, B, C, D, A is not concerned, C is not concerned, D is also not concerned. Only the B option is correct option for this, that is the sponges itself. Now you select the B option and the correct. Now you go for the next question. Which one of the following is not a characteristic of phylum Annelida? Which one of the following is not a characteristic of phylum Annelida? Options are like this. Pseudocoelom. Pseudocoelom is not at all concerned with the Annelida because of from Annelida to all chordates, whatever the coelom is so far present among these phylae, the coelom will be named as the true coelom oblique eucoelom itself. What do you mean of true or eucoelom is? Whatever the body cavity so far present in phylum Annelida, which is naturally present in between alimentary canal and body wall, the body cavity of the Annelida is simply lined with the peritoneal membrane or mesodermal epithelial layer itself. On the base of that, whatever the cavity so far present in the phylum Annelida, which is simply called as the true or eucoelom itself. That's why there is no question arise regarding the pseudocoelom of the Annelida. Pseudocoelom is not present, and B is the ventral nerve cord is present. Naturally, in phylum Annelida, double ventral nerve cord is present. This is the correct. And segmentation, metameric segmentation is present in the phylum Annelida. What I said now, the body of phylum Annelida is simply divided into equal segment. That will be called as the segmentation. And after that, D is the closed circulate system. The closed circulatory system is first appeared or first developed within the phylum Annelida itself. So, among the A, B, C, D, the A option is not related with this, and remaining B, C, D characters are related with this question. So that's why is a pseudocoelom is not a characteristic of phylum Annelida itself. Now, opting A option as the correct option, and after that you go for the other. Ascaris is characterized by, what is the specific character can be present in the Ascaris itself? A option is given like this: presence of true coelom but absence of metamerism. Here the true coelom is not at all present in the Ascaris because of Ascaris belongs to the phylum Nematoda. So in Nematoda is the best example for the pseudocoelom, and as well as absence of metamerism. The body is not at all exhibiting any kind of the segmentation. Either it is homonomous or heteronomous itself. There is no metamerism itself. That's why A option is not related to this. And B option is the presence of true coelom and metamerism. It is also not present in this. And whereas C is the options of true coelom and presence of metamerism. Here the true coelom is naturally option, and there is no presence of metamerism also. So that's why A option, B option and C options are not related to this question, whereas D option is the presence of neither true coelom nor metamerism. This is the D option is the correct option because of the true coelom is not present, as well as the true metamerism is also not present. So that's why the D option is related to this question. That's why I am opting the correct option, and which is included under D itself. So I am opting the D option for this question. And after that you go for the next question. The animals with bilateral symmetry in young stage and radial symmetry in the adult stage belongs to the phylum. Just what here adults are the animals with bilateral symmetry in young stage, larval stages, and radial symmetry in the adult stage belongs to the phylum Annelida. First option is Annelida, irrespective of larval or adult stage, both will exhibit the bilateral symmetry. It is not related to this. Mollusca also, there is no alternative symmetry, and only the molluscans irrespective of larval and adults of the molluscans are exhibiting the only bilateral symmetry itself. Whereas Cnidaria, the C option is included Cnidaria. The Cnidaria is not at all exhibiting the bilateral symmetry, irrespective of the different stages of the Cnidaria, which will exhibit the radial symmetry itself. And the D option is the Echinodermata itself. This is the best example and correct option for this question because of the larval stages of the Echinodermata naturally exhibit the bilateral symmetry. When the echinoderms are attained into adult stage, they naturally loss of bilateral symmetry because of the body of adults of the echinoderms are simply divided into 5 of the arms. What they exhibit the symmetry which can be named as the pentamerous radial symmetry itself. So for sake of this, D option is the correct option for this question. Now we go for the other question. Which of the following animals is unisexual? So regarding the reproductive system, and all the living organisms are so far differentiated into 2 categories itself. So some of the organisms are exhibiting the bisexual organisms, and some other advanced organisms are naturally named as the unisexual organisms itself. What do you mean of that? Here bisexual organism means they are simply called as the monoecious organisms. And what do you mean of that? That means the male and the female reproductive organs are confined to the one of the organism, which are simply called as the bisexual organisms. So many examples are there. Of course, the protozoans are periferans and coelentrates like ctenoporans, and so many examples can be taken. And even in which organism also, so many bisexual organisms are also present. For example, Tiniarsolium of the platyhelminthes. And after that, even the earthworm is also one of the example for bisexual organisms itself. And what do you mean of unisexual? Unisexual organisms are nothing but the sexes are separately present. What do you mean of sexes are separate? The male reproductive system is confined to the males. The female reproductive system is naturally present in the female. In that way, if the reproductive systems are separately present in two different organisms, though they are belongs to one genus, so that is called unisexual organism. Just here the question is asking that you have to recognize the unisexual organism among the four of the options like A, B, C, D. Here what I said, now tapeworm is the best example for the bisexual organism. What do you mean of that? The male and female sex organs are confined to the one tapeworm. So here leech is also another example for bisexual organism, and spandex are also another example for the bisexual organisms itself. So that's why A, B, C are not related with this question. Only the D option is the correct option for that. The cockroach is the unisexual organism. What do you mean of that? The male and female cockroaches are separately present. Not only that, the female cockroach and male cockroach are differentiated from each other by possessing some of the external or bisexual characters itself. Sexual dimorphic characters are easily helpful to the people to differentiate the male and the female cockroaches itself. That's why the cockroach is the best example for the unisexual organism itself. That's why I am opting the D option as the correct option for this question. And how you can differentiate the males from the female cockroach? Anal styles are the one of the unique characters which are confined to the males and which are not present in the female itself. In that way, the male and female cockroaches are separately present. On that way, the cockroach is the best example for the unisexual organisms itself. So that will be given in the D option. I am selected that. And the last question, this is the last question and concluding question of this class. Which one of the following group of animals is bilateral symmetrical and triploblastic itself? So here ABCD is given. Coelentrates, there is no symmetry. Actually, only the coelentrates are exhibiting the radial symmetry. The body wall is simply composed by two of the walls only. Ecto and endoderms are present. The coelentrata oblique videlia the best example for the diploblastic and radial symmetrical organism. And along with the coelentrata, one more smallest phylum can be present in the kingdom Animalia, that will be called as the Ctenophora. Here. And after that here, the coelentrata is the diploblastic and radial symmetry. And B option is the Osteohelminthes. Osteohelminthes is the triploblastic and bilateral symmetrical organism itself. So this is the correct option for this question. Whereas C is the Ctenophores. What I said, Ctenophora is the smallest phylum of the phylum kingdom Animalia, and which is also another example for the diploblastic organism, and as well as radial. Particularly the exceptional symmetry can be present in the Ctenophora, that is called biradial symmetry can be exhibited itself. So along with the anthozoans of the coelentrata and Ctenophores are these two groups of the organism, they exhibit the biradial symmetry itself. And D option is the sponges. The sponges are not considered diploblastic, either of the diploblastic or triploblastic, because of the pinacoderm and coenoderm, these two layer-like structures are present in the body wall of the sponges itself. Now among the A, B, C, D, the B option is the correct option for this question. So I am concluding to select the B option is the correct option, and as well as I am concluding today's class with this question. Thank you for you all, and we will meet next class with a new topic itself.